In an election year, and also when you have circumstances that Ime Udoka put himself in, circumstances that you have Kyrie Irving put himself in. I've literally seen people trying to politicize the messengers, and I'm one of those people. And let me just say this out loud, it's very important. I did more for this culture before 9 a.m. today than most people gonna do in their lifetime. Just because I don't think Kyrie should be derailing the next season, just because I don't believe that the lady's name should be exposed based on the fact that the power dynamics are at play and it's more to the Ime situation than most of you guys know. If I'm not trumpeting what is low-hanging fruit, that don't make me a sellout. And by the way, I was with the great Sir Charles Barkley last night.
You can't take my $40 million and insult my religion. If you're going to insult me, you have the right, but I have the right to say, no, you're not going to take my $40 million and insult my religion. I think the NBA, they made a mistake. We have suspended people and fined people who have made homophobic slurs, and that was the right thing to do. I think if you insult the black community, you should be suspended or fined heavily, depending. I saw they did the same thing to the kid in Minnesota this year when he made the gay slur. I think you should get suspended or fined. I think him acknowledging the Alex Jones thing should have happened with that too, because that dude's crazy. And I can't believe that we ain't talking about that. We're talking about this idiot.
And we had a 2-hour conversation about this. 2-hour conversation about this in person. Had a 2-hour conversation with Charles Barkley about this. Just because I don't agree with Kanye or Kyrie, that don't mean that I'm cooning for the man. That means that I don't believe what he doing is right. That's a fact. And so it's important for people that look like me, Jacoby, in particular, to not politicize what's happening with Kyrie and Ime and Kanye and shoot the messenger. I ain't gonna always ride with somebody just because they black. If I think you wrong, I don't care what color you are. That's just being real. I ain't about to be following behind nobody that I think is wrong. And let me tell y'all something else. What he doing ain't an act of civil rights. He's not being oppressed. He ain't being oppressed. He getting $40 million to play basketball this year. He ain't being oppressed. So I just had to say that. And woosah. Because this podcast is therapy for me. So I went back and looked at the video that I recently did where I acknowledged how I didn't necessarily see eye to eye with the approach not only of missing games for your team, but the approach of understanding that when you're an athlete, we're required to be role models. And so when I watched the video, I didn't like a couple of the examples that I used. I didn't like the phrasing of how I used about saying Kyrie wasn't oppressed. I didn't like the example about how much he's getting. Because those two items don't mean that you're not oppressed based on the definition. And so it takes a man to acknowledge when he feels like he was off key, off tone. So I just want to acknowledge and apologize for myself to my people because as I talk to some people that I really love and respect, and also what I want you to know, when someone does disagree, in particular, blacks, when we disagree with each other, we can't be questioning each other's blackness. Ain't nothing gonna stop me from being black. Ain't nothing gonna take away from the time, energy, and passion that I did to pull myself up by my bootstraps and make a name for myself. But so many successful black men in particular, or women that work in corporate America, a lot of times it gets dismissed as you cooning for the man, or you like gotta be a sellout in order to succeed in corporate America. And here's what I want to tell you guys, which is really important. Nobody ever tells me what to say. I'm Jalen Rose, and I would like to apologize for a comment I made earlier on NBA Countdown. I questioned why a woman's name who had an alleged affair with Celtics head coach Ime Udoka was not made public. After an internal investigation, and it was discovered that she was a subordinate to the head coach, I now understand fully why her name should not be released to the public. Now back to our NBA coverage.